Welcome to the Ed Answer Key, the podcast where in the time it takes to complete hall duty and attendance, we embark on an educational adventure for both teachers and families. So whether you're a seasoned educator or a family navigating the school system, buckle up for the Ed Answer Key.
Reversing learning loss.
Coming to us with deficits?
Yeah, even prior to COVID.
Well, and there were two, for sure, at least two that we know of, non-related to language barrier, two students that came in that we had to teach to read this year. At the middle school level, at 7th grade, that didn't know how to read. One was labeled, one was not. And I remember them saying, like, one, she is so grateful. Like, her parents both said, like, how does that happen?
Purpose.
Well, and I remember the mom of the one. I don't even have the one student. And I remember her saying to somebody that, like, this is the first time that anybody said that we can still teach him to read. Like, it's not lost on us yet. You know, I just bought something for sight words. That's where we're at. I bought some flashcards for my self-contained class. I'm like we're that's where we are. We have to go back. And now I'm not trained, but I'm going to try.
Can you tell us what the label is?
Well, ironically, neither qualify for specific learning disability because in special ed you cannot qualify if you have too low of a deficit. But it so that you can't qualify because like the next one down is then an intellectual disability, and you have to be at a certain IQ level in order to qualify for that label and qualification.
So there's a demilitarized zone of qualification?
Yeah, so like our students who fall into like intellectual disability, there's a certain number on the IQ scale. So that's like real cut and dry.
Sure.
But then specific learning disability can cover reading, math skills, and a various number of different things, and that's all over the place depending on your school psych. But if they don't show that they have an actual ability somewhere, then they don't qualify for that either. The one was an OHI because she had ADHD, and she had something else from birth, like a birth defect to some degree that caused her memory. That's how she was labeled.
I called the school this year, and I'm like, okay, y'all give me this report card. He hasn't got no checks. Like, he hasn't made proficiency in any of those areas.
Right.
So why are we moving him to first grade if he ain't mastered what he need to do in kindergarten? There's kids lower than him. I don't care about them kids. I care about my kid who hasn't made proficiency. So it's like, and then when you get up to my level, middle school and high school, and we have these retention meetings, it's like, oh, they're going to age out. Give them time to get up there and get those
22.
credits. Well, they'll never make it to Algebra 1 or pass an Algebra 1 class if we can't even get them through 6th grade math. But no one thinks long term. They think, oh, I just want them to age out. I want them to be held back. I'm thinking of social aspects. And then that's where learning loss happens. And then they keep pushing them up where this kid can't read. But we're just going to keep pushing them up so they're not too old in the classes with other people.
And those gaps get wider and wider.
Crazy.
And it becomes more difficult, at
Yeah.
least in a classroom setting.
I think my first year, I had a student that I felt like they needed to be held back. And I found out later that in order to be held back, you need admin permission, all teacher permission, and parent permission. We do so much. We bend over backwards. We spend our homeroom time. We spend our lunch time, after school study tables, and trying to get these kids caught up. But at the end of the day, they're still going to go on to high school where they can spend more of their own time trying to catch up when we could have been helping them catch up ages ago.
Well, they've repackaged the diploma tracks. I'm sure you guys have seen or heard of this at the high school level. So like now there's actually more options for kids who might not be able to make it. But they're just repackaging these diploma tracks where they're giving them more options. So, hey, you can't make it in this class. Let's try this diploma track.
We got IEP kiddos that you still have to, now they got the graduation pathways.
Right.
You got to prove employability skills.
Right.
And then now they took ASVAB away as an option.
That's
so kids
the
Took what away?
ASVAB. So
The
you
What the hell
kids-
is that?
The
military entrance exam. So kiddos
They
who
used to
can't
do
get
that.
an honors diploma or SAT, get college-ready benchmarks in SAT or ACT and all that, so they take the ASVAB because that's the easiest way for them to get that post-secondary ready competency. They took that away for them. So our SPED and IEP kiddos, our 504 kiddos, they're going to struggle because a lot of them can't.
We said SPED, IEP, 504.
Yeah.
What is that? Because I'm going to tell you, my son was at a school. He was in 2nd grade, and his teacher wanted to retain him. And I said, you guys are going to figure out what's going on. And this teacher was very adamant that they wanted a certain label on my son. I knew my kid. It was a meeting that was here. It was about 6 other people that were there, and they were throwing around. Everyone was in education. I'm thinking as a parent, why is special ed so complicated? So they're throwing around 504 IEP and all kind of other things. Okay, OHI and ED and everything. I think it should be all this. And I'm like, I don't know what was going on. Then they said retention. They're like, we're going to hold them back. I was like, hold up. We need to exercise everything before we do this. Because if this is a strategy or a solution, you can't take that back if it doesn't work.
Right. True.
So, and I think they saw, because I started to get a little loud, and the vice principal, the assistant principal said, okay, well, instead of ED, we'll put it OHI, we'll see this, and they'll still get the same type of services. He graduated with honors. He graduated with honors. He's doing great things, working in a hospital, doing lab work, great success. So when I say 504, you say IEP, and you say
ASVAB.
What are those things for any listener who is just a concerned parent?
Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of the Ed Answer Key. Your support means the world to us. Be sure to stay in the loop about upcoming topics by downloading our free podcast companion at www.edanswerkey.com. So until next time, class dismissed.